The word close is killing your practice. Selling chiropractic generates instant annoyance and negativity when we hear it. Do you feel like selling your treatment plans is uncomfortable? You know your treatments work, but when it comes time to present your care plan, you either feel like you sound too salesy because your sales script is too harsh, or you back off completely because you don't want patients to feel pressured. So you lose confidence and control. So then the patient leaves to think about it. Now, here's the truth. Hard close tactics don't work well in healthcare. If you've seen guys like Grant Cardone or Andy Elliott, you know the drill. They teach speed, pressure, and closing at all costs. The all or nothing sales tactics usually don't align with good people. And that's exactly what happens when holistic healthcare gets reduced to a commodity. The public loses trust in us, and eventually it will come crashing down. Beginning with finance companies refusing to work with specific consulting group clients. I know because I tried it. I hired some of the consulting companies who adopted the same sales strategies. Push hard, dig, push again. Don't forget to push them harder. Don't let them out of your office without closing them. Yes, it gets patients to start care, but they were the ones who complained, they wanted refunds, and they would cause problems with the lending companies by trying to do chargebacks. And that's why some of the lending companies refuse to work with chiropractors. Your consultants' sales tactics have destroyed options for the rest of us good guys. You see, they agreed to the treatment plan, but they didn't feel comfortable with their decision or my office. My patients were stressed. My team was stressed, and of course I was stressed. And I guarantee that most of you hate being told that you have to sell chiropractic, because immediately we think of this type of salesman first, the hard, cheesy salesman. And you can't stand being treated this way when you go anywhere. So the problem we run into as chiropractors is that everybody that we meet does want to be sold to. We all want to be convinced that someone can help us. We just don't want to be pressured. Everything in life we agree to or try to get someone else to agree to is a sales conversation. Even convincing someone to go eat sushi or Mexican or Italian requires a reason why you want them to go there in order to get that person to agree to go with you, unless they already wanted sushi too. So the way to closing patients to begin care isn't trying to close them at all. We just established that we hate that word in healthcare, so we immediately associate bad things with it, right? So what we need to do is start using a word that we feel more comfortable with, a word that means the same as closing, but doesn't make us cringe when we hear it. A word like enroll. We love to enroll patients in our treatment plan. We love to count the number of enrollments we get each month, right? Same meaning, but a totally different feeling is attached. That's why I built the E.N.R.O.L.L framework. It's a strategy that lets you guide patients with empathy, clarity, and confidence. No pressure, no guilt, just trust. You're still selling them on your treatment plan, but the patients feel like they're the ones choosing to get the treatment in your office. And you feel better because you're not thinking of selling the patient. So even though you were in control of the conversation and the treatment plan the whole time, the patient, again, feels like they're the ones choosing to do the treatment in your office. So it's a win-win. Now, quickly, before I get into the E.N.R.O.L.L framework, let's talk about our day one process. This should be easy for you by now, but this gets ruined by most chiropractors. You're sabotaging your office and your success because you might be refusing to take this seriously. Protocols must be followed in order to set up the report of findings properly. The day one is simple. The patient scheduled shows up to your office. The patient should be greeted by name by your front desk staff. Paperwork is completed. A welcome video, if you have one, is shown. The exam is performed. Films are taken. And after all that, you let the patient know that what you have found during your exam is very concerning and that it is very important for them to come back the very next day. Yes, the next day. 2 days max. Learn to be strict with this. You don't let them come in a week from now. You have to be hard with this to get them to follow through. No more questions answered at this point. If they push for more information, remind the patient that today is investigational We're trying to determine if you're even a candidate for care, that you need more time to look over the paperwork and the exam findings to make sure that nothing was missed. And then you end with one phrase: on the next visit, we're going to discuss what comes next. You don't diagnose on day one. You don't tell them that you can help them. You don't go into the treatment plan. Don't discuss any of this with them on the day one. Why? Because if you give away everything up front, patients have no reason to come back for the report of findings. The day one is about building curiosity and a desire to want what you have to offer. The day two is where the E.N.R.O.L.L system works. And by the way, make sure the spouse is there for the ROF. Make it mandatory. If they're not in the room on the day two visit, you're already fighting an uphill battle. Okay, so here's the E.N.R.O.L.L framework in action. The first letter E, establish the chief complaint. Most patients walk in with a laundry list of problems: back pain, headaches, fatigue, numbness, but they're usually only desperate to fix one thing. If you don't narrow it down on the first visit, you'll overwhelm them with too many options later. So when we're establishing the chief complaint on the report of findings, this should have already been identified earlier, but you're making certain that you clarify it now. So you ask open-ended questions. Which problem keeps you up at night? Which one makes you worry the most? Then tie it to their life emotionally. For example, a patient says, my numbness makes walking scary. You say, well, that must be frustrating. What's one thing that you'd love to do if that numbness disappeared? Now they're going to answer with something more personal. Well, I'd want to be able to take my dog for long walks without worrying that I'm going to fall. That right there is an emotional motivation. That's what they really want back. All right, next is the N. Name the problem or the diagnosis. Patients need a confident diagnosis to trust you. So you're going to say, well, based on your exam and symptoms, you're dealing with sciatica caused by nerve compression. I've treated this hundreds of times. If they disagree, don't argue. Instead, ask, what makes you doubt that? This keeps them engaged, not defensive. Patients don't need to hear Latin terms or all the medical jargon. You want to keep this at a 6th grade or even a 3rd grade level in layman terms. They just need to feel that you understand their problem better than anyone else. Which leads us to the next letter here, which is R. You're going to review the health history and past treatments. So here, you're going to say, remind me again, what have you tried already? They're usually going to say any of these or a combination of them. I've taken medications, I did physical therapy, I got injections, I've had surgery. Then you're going to follow with empathy. That's a lot to go through. And none of those gave you any lasting relief, right? This validates their frustration. Then you position your care as different. You see, most treatments, they only mask the symptoms. It's a temporary type fix. Our goal is we address the root cause, the underlying nerve damage, and that's why patients finally find relief in our office. By reflecting back their failed experiences, you're showing them why your approach is the missing piece now. Next up is O, the outcome desired in your office. Here's where the magic happens on the outcomes. Patients don't buy your decompression tape. They don't buy the laser treatment. They're not buying the shockwave machine that you have. They're not buying the equipment. They're not buying you. They're buying the results that you have to offer. They're only there for the outcome. They don't care about anything else. So you ask, if this problem went away, what would you love to do again? And when they say, play with my grandkids or walk without fear, that's the outcome expected. That's what they're wanting. Now, paint the picture for them. Well, that's great news because our program is designed to reduce the irritation and restore mobility so that you can get back to walking confidently and enjoying that family time again. Notice what I didn't do. I didn't drown them in the technical details. I didn't list every therapy that we do. You're selling the vacation, not the flight plan. Everybody wants to envision where they're going to be on their vacation, not the 8 to 10 to 12 hours that it's going to take to get there. So the patients are the same way. They don't want to know all the hard details. The details are actually going to be what causes them to say they want to go home and think about it. So you're just going to keep trying to push to them what they're going to experience whenever the therapy's done. All right? Next up is the first L, which you're going to list the consequences of not doing anything. This is where we need to create urgency, not fear, not pressure, just the truth. So here's what happens when people wait. The pain's going to worsen, mobility decreases, and your options shrink. Remind them that after physical therapy, medication, and injections fail over and over again, their only option is going to be surgery. Even when they tell you that they're not going to have surgery, push back here. This time it's okay. I push back all the time because so many patients said, oh, no, I'm not going to have surgery. And internally, I was kind of laughing because I saw the version of them that's 5 years older that had that surgery. So the pushback here is by telling them that they won't have any other option if they keep going to the same doctors, the same orthopedists, expecting a different result. Medicate, therapy, inject, surgery. That's all they get in medicine, right? It's offices like us that give something different. So we have to convince them without being pushy. We have to be able to convince them that what we're doing is different. Everything else they've tried and everything else they keep doing under the medical umbrella is going to lead to surgery. All right. So they may think that they won't have surgery, but they will when the other options are no longer on the table. Never forget that. Remind them that if they wait to try your therapy, then you may not even be able to help them later on either. The longer they prolong this, it's going to be too far gone that you can't help them. You see this urgency, you're helping them make a decision quicker for the therapy that you know is going to help them today. So why would you say, yeah, you know what? Never mind, just come back in 6 months, wait till it's a little bit worse and then give it a try. Why would we ever do that to a patient? We want to help them now, right? So now you need to discuss the financial portion of the treatment plan with them. This gets a little tricky, right? Emphasis has to be placed here on the medical establishment again, the pharmaceutical industry and the insurance industry being in bed together to keep profits between themselves and healthcare. When we're offering non-insurance covered services, we have to be able to throw stones somewhere. We have to be able to help get the patient understand that it's not our fault. We would gladly take insurance money for the therapies we do, right? That would make our life 10 times easier. The problem is when it's a non-covered service, we're the bad guy according to the patient. So we have to change that mindset for them. Because like I mentioned, offices like yours and mine, it's a burden and something that needs to be squashed like a bug. That's the mentality that the patient has. So once you work past the financial part, now we're just trying to deal with the objections. Hopefully, if you handled everything good and well at the beginning, then you're not going to have any objections. I always tried to answer the questions I knew the patients would have. I brought them up ahead of time so that they wouldn't even think to ask it on their own. So now if we move straight into the objections, what if they say first, I can't afford it? You got to say to them, well, I understand, but how can you afford not to if your independence is at risk? What are you going to do if you're working, but this gets worse? You're not going to be able to keep your job. Or if they're retired, it's like, this isn't going to get better. You will have surgery. You will use a cane, walker, or be in a wheelchair if you don't resolve this. It's an absolute guarantee the body gets worse as we get older if they don't get fixed. So use a little bit of pressure here. Again, it's health-related pressure. It's not sales pressure. It's this is going to happen to you if you don't fix it. So how can you afford not to do this right now? That's the point we're trying to rush home, okay? Now, what if they say, well, I need to talk to my spouse? Well, first, shame on you for not forcing the spouse to be there in the first place. But here's how I would handle it if they bring this up. Well, of course, I don't blame you, but odds are your spouse wants you healthy and happy, right? Get them to nod with you and say, a lot of our patients, what we have them do is they go ahead and get started now with treatment. And then if your spouse, for some weird reason, tries to talk you out of it tonight, you can always cancel the treatment tomorrow. How's that sound? So again, you hit the objection, you gave them an out by let's go ahead and sign up today, and then you can pull out tomorrow if you want to. That way it gives them the sense of being in control, even though you still took them down the path you were wanting to. Now, if they say, well, I need to think about it. What's on your mind? Maybe I can clarify something for you. So again, it's not arguing, it's just guidance. You're trying to get them to share with you what they're trying to think about. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe they just are scared to death of making a decision of this importance because there is money involved. So once they become more upfront and honest with you about why they want to think about it, you might be able to easily handle it right then and there, instead of saying, okay, take this brochure home with you and then give us a call, because you'll never hear back from them again. All right. So once they agree to enroll in your office, we need to finalize the meeting and then get them started with care. So next up, the final letter of the E.N.R.O.L.L framework, the final L, which is lead with confidence. Once they commit, stop talking. Just be like, that's great. Let's go ahead and get the paperwork signed and get started. And congratulate them. Say, you made a great decision today. My team and I are dedicated to helping you get the best results possible. You're going to get the finances handled right away. Introduce them to your treatment staff. Reassure them that you'll be with them every step of the way. Patients who feel supported after saying yes are the ones who stay committed to care, and they will refer their friends. All right, I hope you like this training. There are deeper details for each of the letters in this framework, but this is the foundation to start enrolling more patients beginning today. Now, to recap quickly what we discussed, I want to contrast again what the difference between hard closers, which we hate, and the enrollment doctors or enroll process. So to compare, hard closers talk fast, interrupt, they pressure us, and they guilt their patients. They push people into saying yes, but those people usually regret their decision. The E.N.R.O.L.L doctor listens. They ask better questions. They build urgency through the patient's own words. They slow their conversation down, like I'm doing now. They change their tone, and they're going to help validate the objections that people have instead of just ignoring them. Which doctor would you trust? Which doctor would you send your family to? Exactly. So again, to recap, the E is for establish the chief complaint. N is for name the problem or diagnosis. R is reviewing the health history and past failed treatments. O, outcome desired from our office. L, list consequences and handle objections. L, lead with confidence. This is how you guide patients into care with empathy, integrity, and confidence. Not by pushing, not by guilting, but by listening, by caring, by enrolling. Now, if you want me to go deeper into objection handling or financial conversations, if you will, comment the word money or objection below, and I'll share my full advanced training with you. Because the truth is, patients don't buy from the loudest doctor. They buy from the doctor they trust. Now, make sure to look around for links to other ways you can get more information from me or my website. If you're looking to take your clinic to the next level beyond digital advertising, that's where we help you as well. Let everyone else keep fighting online for patients that aren't interested in the treatment anymore. Nobody is paying attention. Everybody ignores our ads on Facebook because it's been saturated for the last 10 years. And it just keeps getting more and more saturated every single month and every single year. All the different ways, all the different tactics that these agencies are trying are only making us feel that it's a new option when it's still the exact same ad. It's just sold in a different package. It's time to step away and find the new area where you're going to be able to get patients that aren't even on social media in the first place. We can dominate your city by doing what no one else has the common sense to do. But don't put it off for too long or somebody will be taking your spot. And then you're going to be the one that we're laughing at. And I look forward to working with you in the future. Just, again, click on any of the links to get some more information, or you can even set up a strategy call with me.